Hi there, welcome to my piano tutorial where we are continuing through our book, A Perfect 10. This is book 3, and so far you have made it to the 5th song, Snake Charmer Blues. Okay, so I've prepared a lot of things to help you to be able to be successful at this song, and hopefully you'll really enjoy playing it. The first thing I notice about it is that it says blues. All right, so blues usually kind of means it's kind of a downer type song, like if you're kind of complaining about something. I recently, well, about a year ago, I bought this book, sarcastic, like little coloring pages. Now I wish I had actually colored these, but you can see the idea behind them. Okay, so the name of the book, it says here, I literally can't even. You've heard people say, I just can't anymore. So you're kind of thinking about how the negative is taking over your life a bit. I can't people today. You've heard people say that. You just want to stay home and be in bed. Just don't even bother. The struggle is real. Maybe you've heard that one. Here's one. People. Like you just can't get along with other people. And the last one is everyone is the worst. All right, so I don't really buy into that negativity. I try to stay positive, so I just thought that this would be kind of fun for you kind of to get the feel of the blues a little bit. And with it being January and tomorrow's Monday, a lot of times people are thinking, I just don't even want to try. Maybe you are stuck with your schoolwork or your job or something, and it's a little bit trying, so you can relate to the feel of the song that we're working on today, Snake Charmer Blues. Also, I brought out some stuffed animals that I had from out in the garage. These belong to my son, and when he was younger, he used to love to play with the stuffed animals, and one of them was Mr. Hissy. Right here you can see this little snake. All right, so my husband and I went to India several years ago, and we actually saw a snake charmer playing music, and the snake was coming out of the little pot like this, and it was kind of scary. I stayed clear of that. I stayed on the other side of the street. I didn't want to get too close to that snake. I don't like snakes. So anyway, but the snake charmer is an Indian person usually who plays some type of an instrument, and through the sound of the instrument, he can control the snake, and he can make it kind of come out of the pot and do a dance. So that's the sound that you're going to hear on the Snake Charmer Blues. But before I play it, I wanted to explain a few little elements that you're going to be seeing. For one thing, I see lots of eighth notes, okay? So your eighth notes are broken down. Each quarter note is broken into 2 parts, okay? So you're going to be counting 1 and you're going to have a succession of more of those. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. All right, so you see many measures that has all 4 beats broken into 2 halves. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, so it's going to sound like this. The next measure, they're just in quarter notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that's your beats. Kind of slow so that you have plenty of time to get your eighth notes in between. Okay, the next thing I want to point out is the key signature. So you have 2 flats on the key signature right here at the beginning, which means automatically you're going to be playing B flats as well as E flats. So anytime throughout any of the music that you see a B or an E, it's going to be flat. Okay, so if you tried to play the Snake Charmer Blues with the B's and the E's, the white notes, it's not even going to sound right. Okay, so be sure that you may have to highlight those to remember. In addition to lowering the flat, the flat lowers the B's and the E's according to the key signature, they're also adding additional sharps. Okay, so the sharps are raising the C, so you're not going to play the regular C, you're going to play C sharp, as well as in other places you're going to play F sharp. Okay, so be ready for those, and I think that we'll give it a try here, and so you can hear how that's going to sound. Let me lower this down here a bit. Okay. So you heard that gradual loudening and then the decrescendo. There's certain words for that in piano. We're starting out mezzo piano, medium soft, okay? So just kind of start soft, and as you increase in volume, it'll get louder, okay? And then other measures will start louder and you'll continue getting louder. So you want to kind of play up the dynamics on this one. All right, so you're going to see the signs in your book that look like this, okay? You can see it gets from small to large, so that's like the greater sign. So you're going to increase in your volume as you play that. And then the following measure, it has you do just the opposite. So you're going to decrease, okay? So increase and then decrease, okay? So see if you can hear the sound of that. Is changing up on the dynamic. So it gives you lots of opportunity to try to play a little bit harder or ease up a little bit. Try to get past the note so that you can get into the feel of it. So you want it to kind of sound like the snake is moving, okay? It's getting louder, okay? All right, so notice that all of that was in 3 different positions. So I've got my G minor position, and the low notes, some of you don't even know these notes at the very beginning of the first measure. We've got some ledger lines, okay? The lowest ledger line that I had a chart for here today is the A. All right, so middle C is 1 ledger line below the treble clef. The B is below that, right here, there's the B. And then the A is below that on this line. Well, the first note here is even lower. It's down here below. This one is the space note below that second line, so it's a G. So you're going to start with the thumb in the right hand on the G below middle C. G, A, B is flat automatically. It's because of the key signature. And then C sharp. That's what gives that sound of the snake charmer. And then the D, and then go back down to the C sharp again, and the B flat again, and then the A, and the G. All right? So if you don't get those B flats, you're gonna... That doesn't sound right, does it? So you gotta get the B flat in there. Both on the way up and on the way back down. Okay? So then, most songs kind of follow an order with your chords, okay? So oftentimes we have the 1 chord, all right, and then we go to the 4 chord, and then we go to the 5 chord, and it kind of changes it up. It could go in any particular order, okay? So on this particular song, we're starting out with the 1 chord, but it's not a major 1 chord. It's a minor chord, okay? So to make a minor chord, we're gonna mark it like this, okay? These are Roman numerals. All right, so it would just be a lower, it looks like an I, right? Okay, so that's a lowercase Roman numeral 1. Okay, so maybe you're learning about Roman numerals in school or you're familiar with it. This is the 1 chord, okay? This is, if it's major, it's gonna be capital, but if your chord is minor, it's gonna look like a lowercase I, okay? So that's what we have here in the G minor. Line is in the G minor. Then notice we're going to go up to C. Well, C is the 4th tone above G. 1, 2, 3, 4, right there. So the 4 chord is also going to be minor. So if I want to do a minor 4 chord, it's going to look like this. It's like the I and then the lowercase v. Okay, so you can see the difference. Here's the capital 4. Here's the lowercase 4. Okay, so in this song, that's the way it's going to be. You're in the C minor on measure 5. Because the E is flat, both on the way up and the way down, the E is flat. They go back to the G minor. Now, notice on measure measure 9, we're going up to the D, which is 5 tones above G. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so my D chord is like this. So that's my 5 chord right here. 5 is usually major, or it's always major, whether it's in the major key or a minor key. So we don't have to put a lower 5 here. It's just going to always be major. Okay, so your D chord has the F sharp in the middle. So on this particular one, you're going to have the E flat and the F sharp. Then back to your 4 chord. Then back to your 1 chord. Okay, that's the basics. That's the first part I want you to really get comfortable with before going on. The B section begins on measure 13, and the left hand goes down to the low C. 2 ledger lines below middle C. So you've got middle C, bass C, and then the low C. Okay, so take your left hand, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, right there. So it's C, D, E flat, F sharp, G, and then you reposition to the G minor position here. So it's G, A, B flat, C sharp, D, then reposition to the D position. D, E flat, F sharp, G, A, D, G. Then you're going to do the same thing again on the next page. And then where your 1 is, that's where you're going to start with your 5 now. And where your 1 is there on the D, you're going to reposition to your 5 on that note here on the next measure. And then at measure 21, you're back in the G position. Notice that the right hand is an octave higher now. It's the same notes that you did over here, but you're just an octave higher. So then the C position, and then back to the G position. Now the D position. C minor, and then you're ending. The right hand comes down to the G here, back in the original position. Left hand crosses over to the treble clef G, and the right hand plays those notes an octave higher. Adding the pedal here, then you've got this kind of suspicious sounding ending here with the F sharp, A and D, and the G, B flat, and D. Notice that they have treble clef here in the lower line, so you're reading all treble clef notes there. My hands are super high here, and then you just go down and play the low G. So it leaves you off in a suspenseful sound. Okay, so I think that you'll enjoy working on this one. You have to maybe watch the video a few times and mark the notes if you need to. If you find that you consistently are missing those B's, then highlight all the B's in the song so that you remember to play them as the B flat. Same as the E flat, okay? I think that you will be able to get all of that. The only thing I didn't cover is on the B section, measure 13, that the chords in the right hand are up in the treble clef here. You've got a C minor chord, but it's written as a G, C, and E flat for your pinky. So it's not in the root position. Root position would be like where C is at the bottom. Okay, so it starts up there in the second inversion. And then it goes to the G minor chord. And then here it goes to the D chord. And then it does the C minor chord here at measure 17 in the first inversion. And then the G minor here in the second inversion. And then the D chord here in the root position. Okay, so I know that the inversions are a little bit tricky for you guys. So the C minor chord is made up of C, E flat, and G. Okay, so if you play it where the C is at the bottom, that's the root position. If you invert it, which means you're going to take the C and put it up here, like that, you're going to just invert it. So you have to reposition your hand so that now your thumb is on E flat, 2 is on G, and 5 is on C. So it's the same 3 notes, you're just playing the higher C this time. So that's the first inversion. Then if you reposition it again, where the G is on the bottom, the C is in the middle, and the E flat is at the top, That's the second inversion, okay? So any chord can do those inversions, okay? So that's C minor here on measure 13, as well as measure 17. It's also C minor, but it's just written with the E flat at the top on measure 13 and E flat at the bottom on measure 17. So you have to reposition your fingers, and it does tell you which fingers to play on both of those. Same with the G minor. Measure 14 is the G minor. G, B flat, and D, same as a measure 18, but it's just written D, G, and B flat. See, it's the same three notes, it's just that I'm playing the higher D here and the lower D on this one. And then the D chord, here I measure 17, 18, 19, it's in the root position, but here earlier I played it in the first inversion. Up there, F sharp, A, and D, okay? So I know some of you are not really comfortable with the inversions yet, so that's what we're having to work on through this song. So we could take any piece of music and learn a lot about the music. Okay, so it doesn't matter what song it is, we want to really dive deep and get out all of those nuggets. And you may have to watch this video many times and highlight the things that you need to, even mark the names of the notes. So be ready for this when you're having your piano lesson this week, because I don't need to go through all of this again individually with all of you. That's why I make the video, so you can have it all marked, you can already understand what it is, and then I'll guide you through that in our piano lesson. Okay, so I'll look forward to seeing you and seeing your progress that you're making. And in the meantime, don't be too scared of the snake charmer blues, all right? Hopefully you won't be too sarcastic this week and you won't have a bad week. You'll get off to a good start, but yet you'll be reflecting on the sound of the blues as you practice, all right? See you next time.